G'day! In today's video I'm looking at the Tough Max 3, also known as the ZTE T86. I'm using a T5 driver to undo the screws on the side of it. This particular one is producing really weird audio issues, so I suspect that there is damage, dirt or liquid on the earpiece speaker or loudspeaker down here. So the screws themselves, as long as they're not corroded too much or too dirty, should come out with a reasonably minimal effort, especially compared to the earlier models that I think they used T3s, which were a pain in the ass to get out. These are actually leaving. So it's nice to see ZTE has learnt. Also, from what I can see, there doesn't look to be any other screws along the bottom or along the top. So that should mean getting this one open should be easier than earlier revisions. Leaving now. Got one there. Gonna take out the SIM tray. Use a pair of tweezers to make it easier for me. Put that in, pull the tray up and out. So now I've applied some heat for a bit. Let's do the usual of isopropyl. So now I'll give it some isopropyl alcohol on a thin pry tool and see if I can take this back off. I feel like it may be the hindrance. Nope. Ah, there we go. So far we're looking purely cosmetic. May want to take the home button off so you don't damage it. Sorry, fingerprint reader. That may explain some of the issues that this phone has had. So it looks like they've put two Phillips head screws in here, and this phone has had a drink of coffee. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now with that removed, this cover's probably just going to flick off straight away. Yep. We're now in. Move that out of the way. Zoom you guys a bit closer. Suppose I'll work on the top half first and disconnect that battery. Fill up, fill up, fill up. More fill up and more. Warranty. Okay, so those here and here were... Oh, never mind, I was going to say they're a different size. No, I just haven't taken out the rest of the ones here that are stuck in. We are a bit stuck there, I'm not sure why. There we go. Don't know why we were stuck there, but now we're in. So what I want to do is disconnect the battery. I'll leave it at that. I'm not too fussed about the screen. If we were doing a screen replacement, we'll figure out the rest of it in a minute. Assuming that's the display connector here, so the battery would need to be removed. The bottom half here. and then you should be able to feed that flex connector there through the frame to get to the display. You may be able to buy it with an assembly, I'm not too sure, I haven't looked into it, but the Tough Max parts are normally fairly rare, but also if you Google it under the T86 model, if you're looking for a screen, you typically could find the ZTE part from there. That's probably a rebadged phone overseas as well. Go. This one's also not really wanting to leave. There we go. Up, in. So here we got the loudspeaker, which was sounding very tinny before when this phone rang. Let's take off that rubber gasket. As you can see, we have down here, as you can't see, sorry about the angle, but here we've got a small duct which is going around to the front here. So that bit there is connected to here. Now I'll continue on. And I'll just spin this around a different way. Okay, that looks to be the microphone here, which is a hole going through the PCB. Flick it over the other way, we can see it down here. So the charger port, or the actual microphone, isn't actually part of the Type-C port. Let's see how replaceable is that? So I was expecting that to be like a under-screen fingerprint reader. Certainly not. So looking at it, that there is the charger flex. This one, the charger port does look fairly corroded. I probably can't pick that up on the camera, so I won't really try and show you. But I'm seeing a fair bit of white, bit of a white colour to it, which makes me think that this bottom of the phone has had a drink, which would definitely go with what the fella was saying about his phone. So I'm going to give that a clean with alcohol and put it back in. I'm then going to clean this area on here, soak that with alcohol, heat it up on the board here, and the loudspeaker, there's really not much I can do with them when they go bad, so there's very little I can do with that. I'll leave it on the heat pad, hopefully dry up whatever moisture is inside of it. And finally, before I continue any further, I'm going to disconnect the battery, just to see for my own sake if that there is the display connector, which I think there's a high percentage chance it's going to be. Bingo. So if you have a damaged display, this would be the teardown you would be required to do to be able to get access to the connector itself, which is this cable here. So I'll hold it up, you can see the model number on there. So there is a potential model number you will need to look up. So from here, I'm just going to give these a little bit of a clean, and then I'll continue to reassemble it. There we go, so now it's time for me to reassemble this T86. So to begin with, put in the battery, or reconnect the screen. Connect the battery up. And whoops, looks to have needed to go down this way. Like so. Motherboard back in. Might have to goes back in the right way. Go. My mistake, we need to go charger port first. And we're going to line that up over the top. And push down. Pull that battery down, it's sticking up too high. There we go, battery's connected. Now disconnected once more. Put this over the top. Connect it up. And connect the antenna cable up. This usually involves lining it up over the top and using something fairly precise like the tweezers to make that final connection. There we go. Click, click. Now I'm going to put the loudspeaker back over the top and grab the few screws that go around it. Luckily for us, the screws are all fairly similar anyway. So from here I can reconnect the battery. Another shield over the top. Proceed with its screws, also all Phillips head. More over here. Zoom out even more. Now I need to put this back into its position. There we go. Now back cover needs to go on. Now strangely, if I go like this, there's a weird cover seal. You do have to try and reconnect the fingerprint scanner prior to putting it all together. So it's going to be a bit difficult in this instance. Ooh, we lost a gasket just here. Which way did he go? That way. I'm just curious if I line it up and just push it in, if it will click in. And no. That was the answer. That gasket off, feed it through, and I'll do it this way. now it's snaked up. Bugger. Where do we need to go? We need to go to here. There we go. So it's about here. Let that live. This has turned into a joke now. So it ran the wrong way. I'm going to go this way instead. That's looking much better. Okay, attempt 35. I don't know why that just didn't go with a short cable and go directly to it as opposed to coiling it up to make it more tamper proof. And what do I know? I'm a repairman. Oh no, it's broken off it. Okay, I'll proceed ahead. Connect up, connect up. Up. Go. Next up, let's put in these Phillips head screws. So these are the larger variety of the screws that were for it. Only 4 of them in each corner, underneath the plastic trim. Cheers, ZTE. There we go. That's the coiling. Righto. 50 feet of coil. Feels like it could have just went straight to there and across. Right, let's get this back on. And I hope I don't have to open this phone again. Next up, you have T5 screws. On. 2. Somehow I've lost one in that mix. 3. I did leave out a gasket, but also I did alter one thing. I also opened it up to have a look here to see what's going on down there as well. That came off extremely easily. You didn't have to actually tear apart the phone to get to that spot. But we'll proceed. Next up, SIM tray. Back in. Installed. Gasket. Now broken gasket. That's a bit disappointing. We use a bit of double-sided adhesive to keep it in there. Nah. Missing one screw. Where did he go? There he went. And that's how to, or a bit of a teardown of a Telstra Tough Max 3, also known as a ZTE T86. Hope this helped you. Any questions, leave them below. And I'll catch you guys in another video. Bye.